Good day, my friends. I want to start being more real. I don't feel that I have done that during my travels with the disabilities and stuff, and the challenges and the ups and downs. I think I might have talked about it, but I never really got into the emotions about sometimes what it can be like for somebody on the road. Okay, now I'm going to be talking about all of this under this van life, health, and care, and maybe I might put disabilities. I'll figure out how I'm going to define it, but it might be van care, disabilities, health, and care. Okay, maybe I can put, I don't know, and then like a subtitle briefly, like Q&A, maybe episode 1 or Q&A episode 2 or something like that, and then any kind of topic that I talk about Pacific, then I could, maybe put that there. But this is also one I'm going to be doing recipes and cooking and coming here and sharing ideas and stuff like that under this title. Okay, I want to keep it separate than my travel video vlogs. That's going to be a lot of traveling in nature and sharing the places that I'm getting to go. Okay, so just to make that clear what's going to be happening, because not everybody wants to hear about disabilities, even though actually I was really impressed with every time I do that I get a lot of views. So I don't know, it's just hard to please everybody out there, but I just thought it would be easier to define the difference, because that one got almost 500 views, right, with my body is failing me. And then I released my gorgeous Paradise BLM campground one, and it's got 152 views. That's okay, but I do lose a lot of people too when I talk about anything going on with my body and traveling, but yet at the same time I get more views. So it's kind of like a mix, but I don't want to look at the numbers anymore. I'm not going to concentrate on the numbers. I'm going to do what I feel I'm called to do. I've been listening to this lady's vlog about, which is a horrible subject to talk about, is about she experienced suicide from her son. And so her son committed suicide, and so she's been sharing or vlogging the ups and the downs and the emotions that she has been going through dealing with that. It's a very touchy, horrible subject to even have to relate to everybody. But my gosh, is she helping so many people through what she is going through. And even though her numbers, YouTube started to promote her after almost a year. And so, because they can see how much she is helping people. So I had to reevaluate where I was going to go. And because I've always been, again, about helping people. And that's what I want to do. If this is the place that people can come to and share and talk, I want it to be that, but I wanted to keep it separate than the vlogging. Okay, so that's how I'm going to do it, and be looking for that disability, health, and care, or something like that. I mentioned that a long time ago, but I didn't really stick with it. But this time I really am. I'm going to keep it different than the vlogging. Okay, I want to touch on some questions, and maybe it will make more sense. And for anybody who might be looking for a little short video, this is not going to be it. This is for those that want to come here and talk about traveling, disabilities, or maybe just even in your home dealing with health care disabilities, okay? Not necessarily on the road, but there is a whole different ball game of definitely challenges for people that are traveling with disabilities, okay? So I want to touch on some questions. I felt it was going to be easier for me to do it this way, and I'll try to make them quick to the point and as brief as possible, okay? One person was wondering, perhaps you might think or just think about finding a permanent place to settle down. It might be more peaceful for you. And they were talking about Caravan Carolyn and where she's gone with her choices, okay? Now, I'm not going to share her personal, what I do know in the past of her finances, her personal situation, but her financial situation is far different than mine, and that's one of the things you have to consider. I am not 62 yet. I have a few years before turning 62. So I had to quit I didn't quit. I went out on short-term disability, and I was under the impression even trying to get SSDI, you had to show proof of your birth. Well, I didn't have proof of my birth because they made an error when I was born with my birth. So it took me many years after getting through the death of my ex-husband, losing my job, trying to sell my house. That's all I could concentrate, and then I had to now go through the next hurdle, which was now coming up with my delayed registration of birth, because I was under the impression you needed that in order to get SSDI. Now, when you do try to get SSDI, one of the things to realize is it takes years. They deny everybody at first. You have to go through appeals. You have to go through lawyers. From start to end, this is the way it is. It is reality. I've known many people who went through this process to get SSDI. They don't just hand you a check right from the beginning and go, okay, They, even after their medical examiner, I've known people that were, so bad, and they deny them. They put almost everybody through this process of denying, appealing, hiring a lawyer. They appeal, then they might deny, then the lawyer appeals it, to see a judge, right? And then from that point to see a judge could take 1 to 2 years. So it's a long process, okay? I'm going to finally share and be open. I am living off of the money from the sale of my house and making that stretch, okay? I went into a roommate situation. You could go back and see my story. And then that didn't work out. I said, okay, road trip, because it was a long awaiting to reboot, and oh my gosh, road trip. And then I decided to go to Arizona, and doing this with and surviving off the money of the sale of my house, okay, and money that I've had in savings and stuff like that, okay? But that money is only going to get me so far. I have to stretch it out. Going more into roommate situation is going to end up going through that money much more quicker, and I don't want that to happen. So being on the road does two things for me. It's going to help me stretch out my money and get me to 62, and also allow me to travel, because I know my body is only going to be able to travel for so long, right? Or I'm definitely want to go down and do it part-time. I see that coming up here in the future. When, I don't know. I'm not there yet, because as long as I listen to my body and I rest, and then I move and I rest, like Kent and I travel, I do fine. It's what I've had to put my body through that has been making it more challenging. Now, Kent and I have long-term goals as well as my short-term, what I'm dealing with now, okay? So the long-term, we want to look for property. Where? We're not sure. So we are in the process of looking at different options. Where do we want to go? You just don't buy property and just go, okay, I'm going to go live here, buy it, and then hope for the best. You have to research what is it like in that area, the climate. You know, you don't want to buy somewhere where it gets flooded out all the time. So it takes time to research, to look. We're being smart about it. It could take a year, who knows, 2 years. We don't know. I'm sure I can make it on the road for a few more years like this, especially once I'm back with him, okay? So that is the goal, is to get back with him, and that is going to be around September or so. I hope to leave here end of August, early September, start making my way slowly, you know, maybe see some things along the way as I work my way back with Kent and be with him through the winter. I may have to come back here again in the spring, you know, and through summer again, dealing with more doctors and stuff. We'll see, okay, until I can change my domicile. My goal is to change my domicile, but that isn't very easy to do because I'm not 65 and I'm not on Medicare, and I am not under SSDI. When you are under SSDI and win that, then you can be on Medicare, and that allows you and opens up the door to go anywhere, okay? Have I ever thought about taking prednisone to help with all my medical pain and issues? No, because whenever you're dealing with a new MAD, like when they wanted to put me on the high blood pressure MAD, I immediately said, no, I'm going to deal with this diet. Okay, because once they introduce a new med into you, they do not give you longer term refills a lot of times because they want to monitor you. Okay, and that's why she only gave me that 1 month, and then I had to go back in. They got to do follow-ups. They got to see how you're reacting to this meds. A lot of times you do not get the freedom, especially when they put you on a brand new medication. Okay, I am not willing to do that in my world and be able to get out and get back with Kent, and maybe even a door opens up with a possibility for me to change my domicile state. I don't want anything that's going to get in the way of that happening, okay? And I really don't want another MAD. Sometimes bringing in another MAD, the side effects of that MAD is far greater than the actual illness itself. So I'm still looking at continual natural remedies to deal with my pain, but it really is about listening to the body, resting, and I feel I can do that in other circumstances when I'm on the road by myself or with Kent. I just have to be more in tune on what I can and cannot do, and I'm learning more to do that, and I am hopeful when we find a place and we can buy land, which we want to do, and live off grid, You know, all of these things will work itself out, I believe, you know. Thank you for sharing. Please get the rest you need and get your pain levels down. It will help your emotions and you will feel more in control. It's not a question, but that is really an amazing, powerful statement, because it is so true. You have to listen to your body, because when your pain levels are out of control and up and down, and you know, it really does you know, make you feel out of control. So the more you can stay in tune with what works for you, you feel more in control. Instead of the disability controlling you, you're able to control it. Okay, so I think that right there says a lot. And sometimes you might not have people in your life that understand that, but as long as you do, that's the most important thing. Okay, so yes, getting adequate rest, eating right, you know, even if you're traveling or not, just being in tune, resting. I meditate. Balance and travel, balance and movement helps you to control the pain, which helps you to control your emotions. And it does. And then you are happier. And I'm happier when I get to be in nature, enjoying it at my pace, at my leisure, not being hurried. Those things make me happy. And understanding my happiness, what makes me happy, focusing on those, the hobbies that I've gotten involved in, those are all important things that help. Okay, all right, so those were some important things. I don't want to make this too long, but I think I touched on definitely the most important subjects that were brought up under that other video, and I will put a link to it, whatever it is up above, so for those that might come here and miss it, because I had an emotional kind of just being real. I mean, that's how I felt at the moment. It was real. The pain was so out of control, and I wanted people to see really the ups and downs that a person can go through dealing with chronic pain on the road. I don't want anybody coming into this lifestyle, especially with chronic pain disabilities. Not all disabilities cause that amount of chronic pain, but I have many things going on and think that this is going to be an easy ride out here, just stopping and smelling the flowers. It's not like that. So we will touch on more subjects about that. Let's get real. If you have more questions, put them down, and maybe once a week too, or when I can. I don't want to put a time frame. I will get to those questions and start getting them out there for anybody and everybody that might have them. Okay, all right, other than that, I'm doing good. I'm at this meetup along the coast, rebooting, relaxing, going to be here a week, just listening to my body and allowing it to rest. So having a great time. All right, so I love you all, and thank you for, again, just being a part of my journey, and sharing what you go through as well, because I know we all help each other, and that's what it's all about. All right, so hugs to everybody. I really appreciate you all, and I'll see you in the next video.